In today's episode of Mike and Dylan Hate Drama, we have viewer submissions. Oh my goodness.
People like you.
When we don't have viewer submissions, this is a podcast about, I don't know, anything we want it to be about. But when
How much Mike hates Welcome to Dairy.
Yeah. The Welcome to Dairy podcast, which, here's the thing too. I will admit, I think it's because I'm such a fan of the novel that I judge too hard.
See, Stephen King just wishes you didn't read that one either. Like, out of all the ones you didn't read of his, he just wishes you would have left that one out too.
Right. So, but we do have submissions today, guys. And if you want us to answer advice, give you advice on life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, whatever, you can submit advice to mikeanddylan.com, MikeandDylan.com.
Man, I was like waiting with like bated breath for like the hate part, and I was like, oh, I don't get to say it. Hate.
Now there's so many people just going to mikeanddylanhate.com. I mean, honestly, I do think that I can get a bit pretentious about shit. So
I was fully on board after episode 1, and then as I watched more of the series, I was like, it will never go down in history as one of the greatest series, but it did get better. Like it wasn't as egregiously just terrible. But that first episode, that's your like pilot to get everybody into the series.
I think it's because I keep rewatching great series too. Like,
yeah,
well,
if you hadn't shit on it so much, I probably would have made it through the first one and been like, wow, this is trash. Maybe the second one gets better. But like then with how much hate you had and you're like, it doesn't get better. I feel like it got better. Episode 2 was tolerable. 3, 4 wasn't too bad. I also agree with your take on like her being like, you're not my dad. That was weird, but also at the same time, like she was hoping it was her dad. So like I don't fully agree with you there, but it is one of those things like, why'd you write it that way?
So then you got to the general part, right?
I'm all the way caught up.
That
now.
was the
Or wait,
dumbest.
I didn't watch it. The last one aired last night, right? I didn't watch that one. But
oh shit, I didn't watch that one either.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it. I was too busy watching Carolina get beat by the Saints.
I went on Google and it was like 14 seconds left and it was tied. And then it was like field goal. And I was sitting there updating and it's like 2 seconds left and it just kept flashing.
There was a whole 11-minute drive where three of the Saints' first downs came from flags. And I mean, they were flagging the fuck out of Carolina. And then on the field goal, like they would be like, offsides. And there was, they even mentioned the ratings for the Bucks Panthers game at the end of the year. He's like, can you imagine the ratings on that? And I'm just like, ooh, saying the quiet part out loud, aren't you?
What? Because they'll be both competing to try and win the division?
Yep.
Okay.
They're both 7-7 right now. Mm. So if Carolina would have beat the Saints, then they only had to beat Tampa Bay one time. So now they got to beat Tampa Bay. They can lose against the Seahawks, but then they'd have to beat Tampa Bay again. Or they can beat Tampa Bay, beat the Seahawks, and then hope Tampa Bay loses. But because if they beat Tampa Bay, they'll be down a game, and then they'll win off of tiebreakers. So they went from having, if they won today, they would have had a 65% chance to get into the playoffs. Because they lost, they now have a 35% chance.
Well, hopefully it's like, our chances of snow the days that they...
Dave Canales is just a new head coach too, and he's making new head coach problems. There was a point in the game where they could have kicked it was like a 56-yard field goal, mm-hmm. And if they would have done that, then the field goal would have tied at the end. But still, our defense is not good. It's just not where it needs to be. It's not Bryce Young. It shows Bryce Young is not the problem. He should have let Bryce Young throw it more, especially when the run game's not working. And I know he's nervous about it, but Bryce is pretty fucking clutch. Like, I think if you just go, 2 or 3 games where you let fucking Bryce throw that ball 40 times, he's going to have it down. Like, he's going to do well, but I don't know. We lose to the Saints, and now we have this just egregiously hard Tampa Bay, Seattle, Tampa Bay schedule, and Carolina will probably win out all 3 and then they'll get into the playoffs and they'll just be juggernauts because when they play a good team, I mean, they're right there with them. And when they play a bad team, it's just like, they play to their level. So
we shall see.
Any way you look at it, though, the season is a net positive because it was a rebuilding year. Before the season, I was just like, 7 wins, I'm happy. I did get a little bit, we got the 7 wins pretty early, so I was a little bit,
hopeful.
Hopeful. But I should have taken a step back and been like, this is a rebuilding team, so
You just got to leave it all out there on the field, Mike.
Yeah, I should
on Sundays. Just leave it all out there.
How many submissions we got?
We got quite a few.
Jesus. All right, so this is a MADHD submission. It says title, my ex got a new guy, but she still likes me. The fuck do I do? Hey, Mikey and Dilly Dill. I don't even know why I'm asking for advice on this or if I can even be helped. I'm stuck in a weird place because I feel like the obvious answer is to move on. A girl I have been close with for the past few years and even dated but broke up due to her being crazy about me having female friends. Just 2 days ago before sending this, she got into a relationship with a new guy. Okay. We were still, that sentence felt weird to me. We were still friends, so it shocked me when I found out since, in quotations, there's no guys in the picture, that she wanted to date. We talked about our past and the same jealousy thing about me having female friends came up and how I couldn't handle her. She said, yeah, she still likes me, but doesn't know if things will ever work out. Even says that she doesn't think her new relationship would last due to her self-sabotaging herself. Is this obvious answer to suck it up and move on, or just keep beating myself up and being sad? P.S. I struggle with confidence issues and dating is hard for me. Here's the thing. If she is in a relationship and still talking to you, imagine what she was doing when y'all was in a relationship. Or when you go on to, if you do fall back with her and start dating her, she's going to be talking to somebody else. So definitely move the fuck on.
Yeah, and she's jealous. So then you have all that drama. There's no win.
I think the jealousy came from
her fucking around.
Yeah, her having that guilty conscience of fucking around. So definitely, I believe, when you had female friends and she was looking at you like, what the fuck you doing with those female friends? It's because she was fucking around with somebody while y'all were together.
Yeah, that's a run situation.
Easy. That's an easy run situation. Get the fuck out of there.
I know it's hard to hear, probably, because for whatever reason, you still like her. But yeah, just run far, far away.
Very, very, very far. Don't look back. And then he's like, man, but she's got like a 10 out of 10 body. And it's like, all right, so hit it and then run.
Just don't date her.
Just don't date her, yeah. Or, also show courtesy to the new guy and
warn him.
Yeah, just be like, hey, man.
It's fun. Don't stick around.
Right.
All right, so this one is titled Importance of PPE in the Workplace. K-Dog here with the true current personal story of a workplace accident. I don't recall which podcast it was, but a few episodes ago, you were talking about the workplace safety and other accidents. I'm sure I've mentioned it before, but for any new listeners, I farm and work at a steel foundry, melting metal and creating pieces for mainly the Department of Defense, among other things. I've been working there for a little over a year now, and I'm in a lead position. Let's start with the fact that I had all the proper safety gear on and in the proper way. I had just finished pouring off my ladle of about 1,600 pounds of molten metal. Metal was required to pour at 2,980 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot. When I finished pouring off the metal, I pulled the ladle, the big 2,000 degree pot we move the molten metal in. I moved it back with the crane we use. Now, there is always a little excess metal left in the ladle. I pushed the button to move the crane, done it hundreds of times, so it was an easy process I had down to a T. Now, like I mentioned, I had all the proper safety gear on, but my gloves were a size too small. So there was the tiniest of a gap between it and my sleeve. I was also standing in the wrong spot. When I went to push the crane one direction, I accidentally pushed the wrong button to make it go the opposite direction. I quickly corrected and pushed the button to go the other way. Anyone who knows anything about physics will know what happened. The excess metal, about 20 pounds, all came out and landed directly on me. 1 in a million chance it found the one place that I have a gap in my gear and went straight in. Obviously, with 2,980 degrees, my arm got a little warm. My coworkers came and quickly ripped all my gear and my shirts off to see the damage. I had third-degree burns from my wrist down to my elbow. Being a farmer, I just brushed it off and said, let's get back to work.
The farmers are built different, though.
Yeah, but that's unfortunately, I have to go to the hospital. That's how I am, though. For the majority of injuries, it's like, meh, it'll be okay. Molten third-degree burns, you're like, fuck.
You can sit there and talk to a farmer. He'll take his coat off. His arm will be like bent down right here. He'll have two elbows and be like, what the fuck happened there? He's like, I broke my arm while I was fucking around with throwing some hay bales. And, He's like, well, what'd you do after that? He's like, I
Got back to work.
finished the job. It was fucking, now I got, an arm that can get into crazy places. Farmers are built different.
I mean, all the nerves were gone, so it's not like it hurt. They made me go to the on-site nurse, and they took me to the ER burn unit and all that nonsense. 2 days before this happened, I got all new safety gear except for gloves because the Velcro on my old stuff didn't stick anymore and left my entire body completely exposed. If I hadn't done that, all of the metal would have hit the entire front of my body, including my pecker. And at that point, why even live?
Yep. And that's just call it a day.
That's your perfect time to switch sides of the fence.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
It's just burnt off. So, all right. I'm a lady now.
Right.
I'm a lesbian transgender woman.
I don't know how all of it works.
So the accident could have been much worse than it was, but luckily it wasn't simply because I took 5 minutes to get new safety gear. Moral of the story, even experienced workers can fuck up, and it's important to have all the right safety gear. That happened on October 17th, and I'm still not back to work. I can't believe your company let you get away with that. Right. You should have been back to work that same day, so there was no lost time injury. Like, those numbers matter.
Now we're going to have to reset the damn calendar to 0 days lost time.
All right, too long didn't read. I fucked up and burned the shit out of myself because I was experienced and thought I was safe enough.
By the way, with these posts that y'all send us, don't put a too long didn't read because we have to fucking read them.
We always will read everything you say.
We have to read them. I remember when I got a job at a box shop, one of our maintenance guys, he had one eye. And you know what I'm saying?
One eye Pete?
I'm never going to be like, why you got one eye? You know?
Why not? I figure you'd be that person.
I'm respectful. So I was never like, why, sir, why you got one eye? I'm not like a 5-year-old who's just like, mommy, why is that guy's legs all funny looking? And it's a guy with like cerebral palsy. But I remember I was cutting bands off of, I was cutting bands off of the stack of boards that just got onto our line. It's just, corrugated board. And he just like walks up to me. I have my safety glasses on my head because it's like real hot and I'm sweating. I can't see through them. So I have them, on my head. So he just walks up to me. He's like, that's how I lost my eye. And then kept walking. So I immediately went, boop. So he was cutting bands on something and he cut the band and it popped and stabbed him right in the eyeball. Fuck.
Didn't have to ask him.
Huh?
Didn't have to ask him.
Did not. He came up and told me. So, I was just like, you know what? Direct. That's like you hear stories of people getting fucked up by, but it's like someone coming up and, this actually happened to me. Now with like the feed gate and stuff, I never played around with that shit because I know I wouldn't wear gloves, nothing that could catch my hand. If there was a board stuck in, we're shutting that bitch off. I am not getting my hand stuck in that. But I did, unfortunately. I was there one day when a coworker did get his hand stuck in the feed roll, and I'm talking about screams from a man you couldn't imagine. Degloved him completely, ripped all the skin off of his hands. Fire department had to come in, cut the feed roll off of it. He was like standing up, and they were putting IVs in him as he was standing up to give him,
blood,
pain medication.
Oh, pain.
Yeah, and it was rough. It was rough. So here's the thing: if anything happens at work and you get fucked up or you die, that's your family, that's you and your family that's bearing the cost of that because they're going to have a temp in next day to be doing what you're doing. So always, it doesn't matter how competitive you are because I'm a competitive guy. So when I'm at work, I want to do the best that I can. I'm not trying to be one of those guys who's trying to look good. It's just I compare my numbers to first and second shift because I was on third most of the time there, and I just wanted to be better than them.
I think it's a young person's game where you feel like, I can do this because I did all kinds of stupid shit when I was in my early 20s. And then by the time I got to my later 20s, I was like, I don't get paid extra for doing more. Like there's no gain for this.
That's what I got to, yeah.
But yeah, in my 20s, I'd be on like a scissor lift, like 26 feet in the air, like 1 foot on the scissor lift and me holding on, like hanging plastic over a machine and stuff. And if I fell off that, like I was either paralyzed or dead. And I'm like, at 20 something, I'm like, I can do it.
I remember I'm going to get into a little story real quick because it's a multifaceted story. But one day our safety guy, we get into a meeting and he's telling a story about a maintenance man who was on a scissor lift, and he was going up and he was like looking at his phone or something like that, and he gets right at one of the fans and it chops the top part of his head off. So it locked his body in that position, and as he went up, the fan kept cutting his body. I don't know how real or not that was, but then that same safety guy transitioned to a woman. We had to have this whole meeting about being inclusive, and we got to accept all
Did
this stuff.
Did you say safety guy?
Huh?
Did you say safety guy? Because at that point in time, it was a safety woman.
I'm not done with my story, brother. So I'm not going to say their name or what name they went by. They started going by a girl name, and everything was all good, but then they left or they got fired or something like that. I can't remember what happened. Well, a couple months later, they got arrested for defrauding a transgender charity. So we don't know if they transitioned and then was just like, I'm going to defraud this charity, or they transitioned to defraud a charity, but they defrauded a charity. So,
did you hear about the brewery here down in Charlotte?
No.
Fucking, and people are like all in the comments and everything. It's like, because a lot of places like stores, different kinds of like bottle shops and all this stuff took all the fucking beer. They're like, fuck this. We're not selling this shit. One of the co-owners, so it's a husband and wife duo that own Sycamore Brewing in Charlotte, and the husband was caught
allegedly. Oh, no, allegedly? Okay, well.
Fucking caught in a 13-year-old's bedroom.
Oh, fuck.
Broken, and the parents caught him in there, and then the police caught him in his car. Like, there's not much allegedly to this at all.
Let me do my Quentin Tarantino impression. Well, that's not rape. Okay, that's statutory rape. Okay, it's not the same thing.
Well, I think it was situation, like full, not just.
Oh, so he like the girl.
And I don't know all the details, but like one of the craziest things.
A 13-year-old can't give consent, so it's rape either way.
Yeah,
that was me doing I was still in Tarantino character right there when I asked that question. But do you remember when Tarantino said that? Mm-mm. Tarantino's catching a lot of shit right now. He's talking a lot of shit about people in the industry and stuff. So everybody's reminding Tarantino that he ripped off a lot of his film ideas from Asian directors and stuff. So,
I mean, there's no original thoughts, like unless you steal like the full story, like you can't like you right. will take inspiration.
I mean, that's pretty much what he was doing though. And it's just like if you don't throw stones,
a bunch of mud,
then nobody because once you start talking shit, like when I started talking shit about Welcome to Dairy, well, people will be like, well, Mike, what are you doing? Yeah, and that's just why. Like, I forgot Paul Dano. Like he's saying that he's a terrible actor.
Yeah.
To who? Because any character that he plays, you're just 100% like. And he's talking about in There Will Be Blood. He's like, you just fucking hate him. He's so Weasley. That actor's doing a great job.
Yeah.
That's a great actor right there.
But yeah, so with this situation with the brewery going on, like there's tons of people in the comments like, well, like he was bad, but like you got to think about the wife who still owns it, and then like all the employees and all this stuff. And it's like, no, you don't.
If you don't want to drink, if you don't want to go there anymore.
And it was like Saturday night and somebody walked by there. There was nobody, like nobody's fucking with this. And it's one of those things where it depends on how you react to the situation. The wife posted something about like to customers, partners and employees, blah, blah, blah. But she focused on like, not the kid. She focused on like the family and was like, oh, these things, he's divested from the company, blah, 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 blah. But like, it wasn't like we, feel terrible for what he's done. There wasn't anything like that. It was all just like a PR wipe of like, like we're there for our employees and blah, 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 blah. Like worried about the company, not.
Yeah. I still don't think if you're doing like if you're doing a press release, you don't focus on what the monster has done. Like you say, hey, like this is fucking crazy. We apologize for this. We want you guys to know because that's you're sending out to your employees and shit like that.
Well, no,
don't feel safe working there anymore.
No, this is to like Instagram. that they posted this like little blurb, and it should be, yes, you should be like, you should completely throw him under the bus and be like, this is inexcusable, like what he's done is, but there was none of that. And like, it's one of those things where you didn't push far enough away. And so the general public's going to be like, fuck you.
Right.
Like where a lot of, there's been a couple places.
I know nothing about this situation or the PR post, so I'm learning this as you guys are.
Well, there was like one of the places that sells some of their stuff. They're like, hey, we already have this sitting in our stock. We will do a pay what you want for all of, like, whatever you want to buy of this company, and every single cent, none of this money is going to like pay for the loss that we're taking on this. You put the money up, we will take that money and we will put it to I can't remember the name of the charity, but it's a charity for kids that have been abused. And like, they're like,
where's this charity at?
But they were like, we don't even care if you drink it, you can pour it out. Like, every single red cent is going to, which I guess red cent doesn't make sense anymore since we don't have pennies anymore, but they're giving all the money to a charity. And like, that's what the brewery should be doing, to like try and be like, hey, this was fucked up, we're gonna do something to make this right at all.
If we ever get real big to where we have like employees, and one of our employees came out like doing that stuff, our apology video is going to be us deep in the woods with a man with a potato sack on his head, and like two guys beating it with a baseball bat in the background, and be like, here at Dreamt Up Media, we take we are very conscientious about not employing rapists. So that's fucking, I don't know. Who caught him doing it?
The parents. I'm surprised that guy walked out of there.
Yeah, how does he walk out of there? That's just my thing. It's, oh God, just like because if it's one of those cases where, you know what I'm saying, they go in there because their daughter's screaming or something like that, you're dead, dude.
Yeah,
I'm fucking killed. Oh God.
No.
God.
I mean,
I'm grabbing you off, and I'm like, baby, go start a pot of grits. And then he's like, oh God, are you going to call the police? I'm like, unfortunately, for you, no. No, I'm not.
We will eventually.
I think what I would do in that situation, because I like to, we don't have a pyre built, so this is just kind of off-cuff stuff. After we make those grits, I'm holding that dude's mouth open and just right down the old, and then I'll call the cops.
Yeah, I think it's hard to determine like what exactly, like, yes, you would want to absolutely kill that guy, but also if your daughter, like, do you decide to take him out now, or do you go to your daughter and make sure she's okay? Like, that's the hard part of the problem in that moment.
The problem is, and for the victims, it is a lot easier if it's a case of, they've been groomed and shit like that, because when it's like straight up like violent rape, it's the fear that he's going to come back and shit like that, and not being able to sleep in your room because you think that somebody's going to break in and shit. So, I mean, either way, that guy's not walking out of my house. But especially if she's like in there screaming, they go in there, it's been a case of he broke in, and you can't let that guy walk out, because now that's going to be her big thing. Even though he's locked up in a maximum security prison, she's going to be like, well, what if he comes back? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In that case, I'd be like, what, from the dead? From the zombie?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, is like, we can say whatever we would do right now in this moment, but like in that moment when it's actually happening, do you make the decision to like take him out? And like, this isn't a thinking moment, because you come into that scenario, you're not going to stop and think like, do I take him out? Like, that's my thing, is like, I'm not necessarily saying that the dad didn't think that, but like in the moment, did he go to his daughter and try to make sure she's okay? And so in that moment, dude slips out, runs away. So it's split second. Do you go to your daughter? Do you start murdering that guy? I mean, I think for a lot of people, it would be start murdering that guy.
My thing is, and it's QC to talk, but some people talk about this shit like, I can't wait for the day that somebody breaks into my house. I just don't want it to happen.
No,
I don't want that trauma on my family, because any way that cool. It's funny to say, I pour grits down a guy's throat, but then something bad happened to my daughter, and she's got to deal with that for the rest of her fucking life. So that's just a situation I don't want to touch. Yeah. I don't want to have to be like, do I go to my daughter? Do I pour grits down this guy's throat?
Well, and that's where I'm like, everybody in the comments was like, he wouldn't have walked out, and me thinking like, ultimately
How do you know?
your
Yeah.
daughter's hurt, and like as much as I would want to kill that guy, and I would try my best to find a way, even if he's locked behind the fucking thickest of walls. Like I would fucking pay some sort of crime
Now, if I went in
boss
that room and my daughter was like, "Kill him, Daddy," say less.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
it. Say less.
Yeah.
Like,
But in that moment, if you like went to make sure she's okay, like you can't fault the dad for like focusing on the daughter rather than
right.
immediately going to murdering that guy. But yeah, no, it's super fucked. People absolutely suck.
This is, I mean, it's just, that's why, man, we just have to go so hard on these people. Like we do have to go so hard. We get them out of the gene pool, get them out of fucking society. Don't put them in a place where it's like, especially the bullshit where it's, 5 years in prison, 20 years in prison. You get out when there's no getting out. There's no, either you lock them away or you deal with the situation. And I'm sorry, but evil things, maybe they need to be dealt with in an evil way. Maybe we stop talking about the humane thing to do and start talking about what's going to dissuade people from doing this. All right, because if someone's sitting there and I'm gonna rape a 13-year-old girl, that's a monster. Mm-hmm. You got to deal with that monster like a monster. Because if you're sitting there and you're like, worst thing is a needle goes in my arm and I comfortably go to sleep.
Well, that's the most ludicrous thing, is that we have to like humanely do no,
and I'm still on the board that people like that are sick people. But here's the thing: once you're that deep in life, once you act on that sickness, you 100% lose the right to live. There are people, we've seen it from that one story. The guy on his deathbed said that he was attracted to children, never acted on it. Once you have one that doesn't act on it, well, you have no excuse ever. So
I think those prison situations should be where you kind of end up in a prison where nobody comes in or out. Maybe they give you food, like,
I wish it would happen in Florida.
But then you guys figure it out inside the fucking cell. Like if the murdering guy wants to fucking take out the rapist guy, I
can't stand the prison shit. The guy from that one band that was like into like the infantile shit, and he got murdered in prison, which is that's beautiful. But I hate a lot of the prison creators that'll be like, yeah, we dealt with him. No, the fuck you didn't. Shut the fuck up. Like you are out of prison because you were a good little boy. Like that's it. That's why you're out of prison. You weren't dealing with nobody. If y'all are dealing with these predators on a basis of to what y'all claim to be, there would be no predators coming out. I can't stand that shit. And honestly, we shouldn't leave it to another monster to fucking deal with these people. Like people are like, well, this guy. Perfect example. A guy had murdered a guy who was a child molester in prison. Everybody was like, he should get out. He should be released. Except for that guy killed a husband and a wife in an armed robbery. So yeah, release that monster so he can kill one of your family members because he dealt with it. We should justice. Like it's justice. I'm sorry. If you do something to somebody, if somebody does an act that is completely wrong, people will be like, well, we're human and we have sympathy and empathy for people. If you do something, all right, and it's a horrible thing to do, but it dissuades somebody from raping a child, you have done the right thing. You have done the human thing. And I'm sorry, like it does not matter how you look at it. If you have proof beyond a reasonable doubt, that person should lose their life, and it shouldn't be one of these situations where we're like, well, we don't want them to feel anything. No, we want them to feel everything. We want, when someone is going to do that, they're like, fuck, man, I'm going to get boiled in oil. It doesn't matter how you fucking do it. Honestly, the most horrible way you could think of is the way that we should be doing it.
Yeah.
I don't care. We could have then, fucking sadists and shit come out and be like, well, this is the most painful thing you can do. And normally I'd be like, oh, well, shut up, weird person. But this time I'd be like, I'm taking notes. What else?
Well, see, I think that's the hard part for me is I don't think people that I think it should be somebody that's already fucking done some crazy shit. You basically get locked in a box that there's nobody in there. Like there's not guards walking around making sure you guys don't fight or nothing. Like you get dropped in with the fucking killers, murderers,
there's
rapists.
no reason you get separated.
The only thing they do is they've got like a fucking cafeteria where they keep food in there. But other than that, like you guys fucking do whatever you want to do to each other and just
but also think
have it
about
out.
the reason that the laws are like this is because the people that pass it's the same type of situation in Ozark where, you know, he's like, you know, the person that worked for his dad was stealing money. She was stealing money. What should we do to her? And then he asked the people that he knows stole money from him, and they're all like, well, you know, she's worked there for so long and all that shit. And then, you know, the protagonist is like, this is just the first time he's caught her. I mean, that's essentially what it is when they're, you know, coming up with the law. It was like, well, you know, maybe we give the guy 5 years. We don't know what was happening. Maybe that child was being really seductive. Maybe she was, you know, wearing a bikini or something like that. You know, fuck shit. So that's where we really have to look at when you're passing laws like this. Like, once again, I hate Ron DeSantis. Okay. I don't think Ron DeSantis was, if you looked at everybody that was ever on Epstein's Island or near Epstein's Island, I guarantee you that man didn't know shit about it because he was 100% like, yeah, we want to kill pedophiles. And as soon as you see a person that's just like, well, you know, it's a delicate situation. How many kids have you fucked, sir? That's what I want to know. How many kids have you had sex with? So we're going to go into lighter subjects now. Am I the asshole for pistol whipping my best friend's ex? That's a light subject. This is a subject we can laugh and have fun with. So I, 24 male, have been best friends with Krista, 24 female, since we were 13. After we graduated, she got in a relationship with Robert and got pregnant. She had Mikey and then Robert, cheated and left in the night. Literally packed and left for his side piece while she was at work. Also, he left, okay, and then Robert cheated and left. She needed help, so I stepped in. After a few years, we hooked up but never made it official, and I was pretty much acting as Mikey's dad. Last year, Mikey was sick and stayed home from school. Krista said she had to work late, so I offered to come over and take care of him while I was at work. I never got a text or call back, but she had given me a spare key a few months before. After work, I headed over. I knocked and no one answered, so I figured he was sleeping. I opened the door and seen Krista with a cloth gag in and hands tied getting railed. Wow, what the fuck? Not a light subject. Now, I thought there was some evil. Oh, wait. I thought there was some evil happening. So I pistol whipped the dude only to find out Robert was back in town and they were hooking up. She got unbound and told me what was happening, and I was heartbroken. The dickhead decided, they were just being kinky. Fuck.
I think he got a rightful pistol whip, though.
Hell yeah, though. Fuck yeah, pistol whip him. Because you don't know. You know what I'm saying? I thought she was being attacked.
I mean, she was being a whore because I guess they were hooking up at that time.
Yeah, so. Then dickhead decided to use my hoodie I had left there to wipe his dick and tossed it to me. I lost my shit and we started to fight. She called the cops to get me out of there, but no charges were filed. I haven't talked to her since, but found out from a mutual friend that Robert had knocked her up and left again. Am I the asshole for pistol whipping him? Granted, the only part I feel bad about this is that Mikey doesn't have a father figure now. Listen, this Mikey didn't have a father figure. I turned out all right. He'll turn out all right, maybe. I don't know. What a shitty situation. What? Honestly,
not the asshole.
Honestly, when you walk in there and you see that site, you could have just blown his dome smooth off. Not a jury in the world would convict you. Not a jury because your lawyer's going to be like, well, you know, they were in a relationship, and then he comes in and he sees her tied up. Yeah. What do you think he's going through his head? He's there to protect. Now, he didn't know of this woman's evil intentions. Bro, there's not a jury. You're going to have two guys on that jury that's just like, I'd have done the same thing. Like the comment section for that one video, I'd have done the same thing. So you could have blown his shit smooth off. And any jury that would have that you would have had would have just been like, nah, well, you're free to go, brother.
She's such a shit stain, though, for just
It's like the dad in the airport that, you know, his son got kidnapped by the, God damn it. Oh, dad of the fucking century.
Not going to let this go to trial and figure out how to handle this. I'll just handle it myself.
Yeah, they were like, well, you brought a gun into a airport, so we're going to give you some probation. That was it. Oh, man. Oh, punishment fits the crime.
You're right.
Punishment fits the crime. I will learn my lesson, guy.
Advice for a step parent. Dear Mike and Dylan.
This is Dylan's.
I guess this would be geared more towards Dylan, but I want Mike to feel included. Next month, I'm going to get married to the love of my life. She has 2 kids and I have 2 of my own. Their custody schedule is different because my fiance and her ex live several states apart. Right now, her kids live with their dad, and in a few years, they'll come live with us. Her kids are very sweet and talk a lot, while my kids are both nonverbal autistic. Basically, I'd like advice on how to be a good stepdad. Their dad is very involved and is a good father figure to them, while I'm more of that bad influence uncle that'll teach you a cold beer. That will
teach you a cold beer. That's right.
Teach you a cold beer in the shower will cure a hangover. I just needed to keep reading, but it was not making sense in the beginning part. I want to be able to help them when they need me, but I'm also not trying to be their dad and overstep. I'm also looking for advice beyond communicate with your partner. Psh, like I got time to talk to a woman. Love the show, fellas. Started listening to MADHD in November and just got caught up. So being a step parent is...
1 second before you get into this, I do want to say I am a comedian. So the shit that I say, I am saying to make people laugh. When I'm like, oh man, it's really honorable what they do, I'd never do it. That's me making people laugh. That's me saying jokes. At no point do I look at a stepfather and be like, wow, I can't believe he's playing someone else's save game. I don't do that shit. Anybody, if there's a child, especially a child that does not have a father, that shit sucks, bro. I went through that shit. So obviously, if there was a guy that stepped up in my life and really showed me how to be a man and shit like that, I guarantee you today I'd have just the utmost respect. I would probably call him dad. So the shit that I say is in jest. There is nothing more fucking honorable than stepping up for a child who has had no fault in any fucking thing that's ever went on. They are in any situation the most innocent person there. So to step up and be like, hey, I'll show you the ropes, teach you about life. A lot of the times, infinitely love the child more than the parent who's not there. That shit, you have my utmost respect for doing that. I'd never do it. You know what I'm saying? I still got to make the joke. It's funny. And of course, if I ever got into a situation where me and my wife got divorced and I got with somebody else and they had a kid, it's not going to be like Mike's just like sitting there and just like, not my kid. You know what I'm saying? So separate the Mike being funny from everyday real life, but I am going to let Dylan answer this advice.
10 minutes later. I mean, it's tough. You are a parent to them, but you also have to figure out how to balance that. Unfortunately, for the way that I am, it appears like you're not going to be super involved for the longest time. Ours is a week on, week off situation. So we literally 50-50 take turns who's parenting. It's tough, but you ultimately, you don't need to replace their father. You need to be just a good father figure, though. You don't have to. There's never going to be a way that you can replace the father, especially if he's fully involved and all that stuff. There's no reason to compete for that. But there are certain things. It sounds like you're the opposite of what I definitely am more open and honest and don't like to sugarcoat things, but I'm also the more strict parent out of the 3 of us that are currently parenting my 14-year-old stepdaughter. I'm the one that's regimented, hey, these are the rules, live within this boundary. And then she lives outside those boundaries. The other 2 parents are man, whatever, she's good. And I'm no, she's going to be an adult in 4 years. She's going to have to go off to college or go do this. And so it's tough because I am the, I don't know, I guess, drill sergeant type that there's some basic shit you got to do to grow up and become responsible.
Person, don't ever do that shit. I might get upset with you over shit that you say, and I'll fucking roll my eyes and shit like that. But at the end of the day, you're the responsible one, and you're teaching somebody how to be responsible, and that sucks. It sucks hearing that you are not on the top of your game and shit like that. But it's the shit that you need to hear. So
yeah, and that's the tough thing. But I mean, it's not treating them different just because they aren't your official kid. And that's one thing that my 14-year-old, I think we're constantly going to go through that until the end of time, but she always thinks that I treat my 4 soon to be 5-year-old different, and we're reaching the point where I entered the 14-year-old's life and things are very similar, except for the 4 and 5-year-old has grown up knowing what's expected, and so she's making those milestones of eating what we have for dinner and stuff like that. It's not something you do with a 1-year-old. And so when my 14-year-old saw the 1-year-old. She's like, why doesn't she have to do it? I'm like, she's fucking 1. It's different. Like, you grow up as time goes on. Like, so as you get older, like, more is expected of you. Like, you're supposed to pick up after yourself. You're supposed to, like, you know, be more responsible with the things around you. Don't just act like a hooligan and jump on the kitchen table and throw shit. Like, at 10 years old, you know that. At 1 years old, no, we'll work on that as you get more wits about you. But right now, it's just one of those things where teenagers are, like, I know everybody says it, and I just always have looked at it as like, yeah, well, they're fucking crazy at 8 too. No, teenagers is a whole new level. Like, they completely disappear into themselves. Like, it's just like, fuck you don't know anything. Like, you're just an idiot, and I want to spend all my time with my friends. And it's like, well, yeah, that friend's gonna disappear soon too, just because they're, you know, in that age range. Like, you go through different groups and all these other people. So, like, boyfriends come in, girlfriends, whatever, like, all of it just kind of like goes in and out, and you think that they're going to be there forever, but they're literally, you know, in 3 months, you're going to hate that person for something they said about your hair or some stupid shit. So, like, they're not ride or die. But, yeah, it's just it's a tough thing being a step parent, just because we had an issue yesterday, and my gripe with my wife was that instead of, like, talking to my daughter, the 14-year-old, and, like, then having us have a discussion about it, she came to me and she's like, can we talk about this? And I was like, I didn't fucking do anything to, like, warrant a talking to about what I said. Like, it was a scenario of, like, the chores that were needing to be done. I told the 14-year-old to get them done early in the day so that it wasn't, like, right about the time that her dad was going to come pick her up. And I get home right about the time her dad's going to pick her up, and she's just now starting the thing that I told her to do earlier in the day. And I was like, okay, well, you've spent a shit ton of time on your phone all week long, and we haven't really done shit about it. So when you come back, we'll discuss, like, how this balance works with all this. But whenever we mention anything about the phone, the 14-year-old gets bent all out of shape, because that's, like, her
lifeline,
her whole fucking life. Like, she puts in full-time hours on it when she's at her dad's house, and I don't think that that's good for a kid to just sit there and swipe on TikTok and shit for
for the dad, though.
10 hours a day. Yeah, and, like, I mean, ultimately that's what makes her happy. But what makes her, like, if she started picking up heroin and that makes her happy, should we just be like, oh yeah, that's just her thing? Yeah. And so we had, like, this big thing last night, and it's tough being the step parent in that, because officially you're not the parent, but also if nobody else is parenting, it's kind of like, who's going to take on this duty here? So it's a struggle as being a step parent.
When you were talking about that, I had a situation this weekend where it's like, you know, they come to talk to you about, like, well, why'd you do it like this and shit like that. So, look, when I tell this story, I don't know if they'll ever hear it, or anybody around the circle will ever hear it, because it does involve a very good friend of mine. But we had a Christmas thing this weekend I went to with some friends, and it's like a yearly thing. So this year, you know, they started a YouTube channel. So they're like, everything's going to be recorded. And it's always so fun during these things. And, you know, I joke up about, like, my competitiveness and shit like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, we're all having fun, you know? Yeah. And I'll make jokes based on that. So, you know, I'm just treating it like, oh, I don't care. Like, everything, I'm going to do everything the normal way that I usually do it here. So we're doing the whole thing. A lot of the time I don't even think about the little recording device thing that they have in their hand. So the last event was, we were going to make skits. They were like, because it's like a challenge thing. It's like a little cup where we do different activities, and then whatever group wins, like Reindeer's Elves, they win the cup. So the last one was, because we had just done charades, and then we were going to do, like, improv skits. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I love, you know, so we planned this whole skit out. I forgot that this shit's being recorded. So we do this thing where, like, we're walking out, and we had a team member leave too. That was because we had a 10-minute deadline to come up with it. We had a team member leave. So that was, like, already like, oh no. So, like, we're going over how we do this and stuff. So the first team goes, and they just sit there and do it on this phone. And I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot that it's being recorded. So I'm sitting there, like, trying to rework it and everything like that. So there are people there that I don't normally hang out with, you know what I'm saying? But they still know what I do. And the whole time I'm trying to say, I just didn't know this was recorded. Like I thought we were just doing like improv thing, like a fun thing because it did for some reason turn out to be a problem. So I'm sitting there like trying to give the case, and like people are saying, oh, well, we're sorry we don't have, 4 cameras on you right now, Mike. And he just wants the camera to be able to pan out and get the whole back. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I just thought this was us having fun as friends. Like, so obviously when you have people saying that, I don't know these I'm not real in the loop with these guys here. I just kind of like shut down, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. You're telling me to rework a thing with 5 people and fit it in one, because this is my job, by the way. This is what I fucking do. I know about this shit, and you're talking about recording 5 people on one video, and I'm just confused right now. I'm just confused. And Dylan knows me. I am a very eccentric person, but I'm also decently introverted. So I just kind of like shut down. Mm-hmm. So we finally like rework it. We do the skit and shit like that. And then, I have a conversation with my wife about how weird the whole thing was. And I'm just like, I really wish it was on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Because then to everybody else, sure, like you kind of get a gist of what's going on. But this is my job. It's not like, so we utilize the whole living room. There's just one phone, and they're on the other side of the room with the phone. And our skit's like back here, because we come in, it's like a little infomercial thing. I thought we was doing this for friends. So I just like shut down. Okay. So, that night, I don't really think about it. I'm sitting there playing the game, and then I get a text, and it's like, hey, I really feel like you should apologize to my wife, because she had to self-deprecate the situation when you didn't want to do the skit. Yeah, I didn't want to fucking do it because I wanted to do it for friends. I didn't want to do this for fucking YouTube. Like, I don't know what it is about people that start YouTube that's like, well, now everything has to be YouTube. This has never been a YouTube-based thing since we've been doing it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now, well, it's going to be on YouTube. It's recording over there. And all I said was, oh, it's just like fucked up. Can I rework it? And then he goes, nope, it's just a one take. It's just so you get one try to do it. And I get that. It's fun and everything like that. If this was 4 friends.
Yeah.
If this was 4 friends. But then, because now Mike's how shit is shot brain is in effect. Mike's work brain is in effect right now. Instead of just having fun, I'm sitting here going, oh, well, that doesn't, because we're back here and the first part of the skits take place up here. Like, it doesn't work like that. And I'm sitting there while people are saying things to me. Saying shit like, oh, sorry, we ain't got all these cameras on you, man. And they was like, oh, it's just your competitive. It's not my competitive nature. I'm sitting here fucking confused and fighting for my goddamn life, trying to explain something already while being on camera, by the way. I'm panicking my way through an explanation. Dylan see me panic my way through an explanation. It's fucking hard while being on camera. And then the next day it's like, hey, apologize. And I was just, and guess what? Guess what Mike did? I apologize, because it's a nothing burger of a situation when it comes down to brass tacks. It's a nothing burger of a situation. It doesn't stop me from being friends with my friends, okay? And I could sit there and be like, my side of all this and shit. No, I just fucking apologize, because it's just once again, it's a nothing burger of a thing, but it does kind of take you aback when you're, you know what I'm saying, in your situation where you're just like, and then all of a sudden it's like we need to have a conversation about what you said. And it's just like, this is out of the blue.
Well, that's my biggest thing though, is like, I'd much rather like temper's cool, like figure out, but this was the issue and this is why it became such an issue, was because like right at the end of the day, while she's about to leave, that's when she decides to do the thing that I told her to do earlier in the day, so that we didn't have this scenario. So that if we needed to like be like, hey, this, you got to like, you left 4 cups on the table here, like right. Get those and put them in it would have been that. But instead, like literally moments before she has to leave, she's starting this process. And that's what happens every week. So that's why I did what I did. And for me, it's one of those scenarios of like, I was fine leaving it. And, she's upset, because we're going to talk about the cell phone. But, we still would have said, bye, love you, whatever. And it would have been fine. But then when my wife gets in the middle of it, literally, she's about to be walking out the door. I was like, we can't have a conversation about this. Like, we don't have the time for a conversation. So, like, it was just terrible like timing and everything, because really everybody has to like leave the scenario for a second. We don't have to work it out right this second. Like, I'm not mad.
Right.
I'm just saying that, like, this is not how it should have went down. So like, we'll talk about it when you come back. And I was cool with leaving it there, but like my wife thinks that she was like stepping up to like try and work the piece. And I was like, you're not, like, I'm not in the mood to talk. She's over there, like, and you know, with teenagers, a lot of times if it's, once they go into shutdown mode, there's no pulling them out for hours to come. So like, I was like, we're not going to accomplish anything right now.
Right.
But like, I didn't yell. I didn't call her names. I didn't do anything to like, other than saying, hey, we need to talk about the cell phone usage when you get back. That's what upset her. So we'll talk about the cell phone usage when you get back. And that was where we left it. And not like, but the way that it all kind of snowballed into this bigger issue, I was like, you could have just like let it lie, and we dealt with it next week when she comes back, instead of like, yes, she's upset because the second you mention anything about the cell phone, it's like her world's going to end.
Well, it's hard being a parent. I can only imagine being a parent and a step parent at the same time, and it's just that's layers to a cake.
Yeah.
I do want to say you did kind of fuck over your wife there, bud.
How?
She's got a 14-year-old. She's 4 years away from being free, and you was like, another one. Here's a little baby.
Oh no, this was her decision. Like I wanted kids, but when we met, and my wife disagrees that she said this, but like when we first met, I think it was just a couple days into hanging out, and she's like, I'll never have kids again. And I was like, that's all.
Hell yeah. All right,
and she's like, unless I meet the right guy. I was like,
wow.
So
and then Dylan was with me like, fuck, I am the right guy. Yeah, she's having another kid.
No, because I made her a promise. She made me promise when she was 6 months pregnant with our youngest, and she's like, do not let me talk you into having another kid. I was like, deal. She's like, promise. I was like, promise. And then
what a stupid thing to make, though, for any wife to say, because in the heat of the moment, we're talking about the direct heat of the moment. Once they're like, I want you to bust in me, Dad. It's like, what do we do then? That's the, like, who has that kind of, you could have one of those monks, that the dude that kept his arm up for 40 years or whatever, the discipline that guy has. If he's like, if it's the heat of the moment, she's like, I want you to bust, Daddy. It's like, well, Dad, honestly, Dylan, you're a victim.
Well, see, it got to be where my daughter was like 3 or 4 months old, and she's like, well, maybe we could have another. And I was like,
not like doing fun things. Yeah.
No, you said at 6 months pregnant to make you a promise. And I made that woman a promise. There's not me going to go meet that 6 month pregnant woman and then tell her that I did not keep up my end of the deal. And then now you're miserable with fucking morning sickness and all this stuff. And like, I'm not me and her breaking that promise. So I just went and got snipped, and it was all good.
I think we should save those for next episode, bud.
All right.
Because I don't think the people are gonna send in the submissions.
I mean, this was all within a week, so.
Was that all within a week? Here, I'll do one more. This will be our last submission for the day. Guys, remember, if you would like more episodes of Mike and Dylan Hate Drama, you can go to patreon.com/Mike and Dylan and get bonus episodes of Mike and Dylan Hate Drama and Two Daddies Judging Baddies. What a steal. Also, if you are into hardworking clothes for hardworking people, we have that at Labor Llama. You can find that at laborllama.com, laborllama.com.
You act like anybody's still listening.
What? No, yeah.
After our little therapy
this is before
session.
the last story.
Oh, no, this one's the last one.
Oh, that one's the last one? Okay. So, second to last story. So, this is Ricky. Love you, Ricky. Am I the asshole for saying I don't know?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's Ricky from Oklahoma. Normally I'd call in, but y'all are doing away with that, so here I am. Like the title says, am I the asshole for telling my wife I don't know? As you may not know, I work in mental health field as a 988 mobile response team. My wife was recently hired by the company I work for, but in a different position. I'm considering a peer recovery service specialist, PRSS. She's a family service provider, FSP. Basically, I deal with adults and she deals with children. She is currently going through new employee orientation. A few days before she started this, she asked me what to expect. I told her I didn't know. She responded with, how do you not know?
How don't you know, Ricky? Ricky, come on, get your shit together.
Right,
how don't you know?
Why don't you know, Ricky? God, I mean,
you do know. You just don't want to talk to her.
Right. So I'm getting into the WNBA, and I see that you're in the NFL. So what is it like? It's like I don't know. This is two different things. This part of the conversation went on for a good 10 minutes. Finally, I had to say, I don't know because my position is different than yours. When I went through the new hiring process, she was over a year ago, and when they took the FSPs, they went to a different room to do their training, and I stayed there, and that's the reason why I don't know. So my question is, am I the asshole?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes, you are. Ricky,
Yeah, Ricky,
I'm
you're
sorry.
a terrible person.
But you need to better inform your wife about things you don't know about. You need to mansplain it to her and just
At
go
the
ahead
end of the
and
day,
come
yeah,
up.
you are. You should have known these things, and you should know everything for the precise moment your wife needs to know that thing.
Every single story that I ever tell my wife about anything, I give her all the details that I have, which are few and far between. But I got whatever somebody gave me, and I give them to her, and she's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, what I told you is...
Gary's wife cheated on him? Damn. With who? I don't know.
I gave you,
told you that, yeah.
I gave you all the information. If
was-
I would have said, did you hear Gary's wife cheated on him with Steve? That's how I would have said it. But like, I told you the whole thing.
Where are they going to stay together?
I don't know.
Are they even talking to like a therapist?
I do not know.
I don't know. I don't. Nope. Just I told you what I had. Everything in the 2 seconds. You see how long it tells me to take a story, or takes me to tell a story.
We'll see. Like, you know, that person that we met at that coffee shop with that much detail too is how much the person, you remember? Well, yeah. So we were talking, and it's just like, I don't need any of this. What's the meat and potatoes of it?
That's shit we don't need.
But all the time, it's just all the details. It's like, no. Cut to the chase.
Get to the good stuff.
All right, this is Mike, drink this. This is for when you're sick. Mike and Dylan. While I work on a longer submission for you, I thought I would share a recipe I make when I'm unwell. I drink it twice a day for like 3 days. I hope it helps, Mike. This is the Unwell Tonic. You get 3 whole cloves. I'm guessing of garlic. That
Is
was
this going to
left
have
out.
honey and whiskey in it?
Nope. 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger. Ginger juice or minced works as well. A half an orange and 4 cups of water. Bring ingredients to a boil. While you're waiting for the water to boil, add honey and lemon juice to a mug. Strain and pour it into a mug. Drink it. This should give you two servings. You can make a bigger batch, just double the ingredients. It can also freeze for later. Feel better, Mike. Dylan, continue to be perfect as always. Winky face, laughy face.
I might actually just save that for like a waking up in the morning thing.
Every day.
Yeah, I'm always so stuffy and shit when I wake up.
Just quit smoking.
But yeah, to have some of that to just like either warm up or make it right there, that'd be pretty good. I do need a good little like boost when I wake up, not just like caffeine or something like that, but just like a good shit for my nervous system to fucking get it going, get it in gear. And because Dylan will hear me every single morning, just so and nose is stuffy, and that's just a Mike in the morning situation. So that sounds like when we were sick, when we were kids, my grandpa would do whiskey, honey, and garlic.
That's a solid one. I've done like straight up honey, garlic, and I think cumin or something like that. And I did it back during the swine flu era, and I skirted alongside a whole family of swine flu victims. I made it out without getting sick. So
the whiskey, honey, and garlic shit, though, that shit would work, especially when you was a kid, because one of
Whiskey.
them, you'd be like, I'm going to bed.
So if you're still listening and you are not yet subscribed or do not follow, go ahead and hit that button. It would
Yeah,
be
if you're on YouTube,
fantastic.
if you're listening to this on YouTube or on Spotify, it does help out to follow along with the podcast does. Helps us out in Spotify's eyes and in YouTube's eyes. It's a very good thing to help out the podcast. But guys, thank you so much for following along on this journey of the podcast that Mike and Dylan use to vent about life shit. Because God damn it, that's what we need it for.
Oh yeah.
We love you so much, guys. Thank you so much for doing submissions to give us something to talk about. And we will see you next time.
Later.